Hello, hello. Is anybody there? Let me know if you don't mind, guys, if you can see me and hear me. I'll be looking at your comments here. I know there's only a few of you. It says 0 watching, but I do see some comments, so I know somebody's out there. West Coast, Mike Bushnell in the house. Amanda Stewart. Yoli Stark. Amanda Duncan. I saw Carol Brown. There's Paula. Ocean Mist. Lauren Wagstaff. What's going on, guys? All clear in Australia? Well, Michael Smith, I'm gonna take your word for it, because if it's clear there, it should be clear everywhere. Look, yeah, it says 1 watching, but I see a lot of y'all in there. Oh, now it just jumped up to 15 people watching. So, guys, are y'all hungover from any Halloween parties last night or anything? I've seen a lot of my friends. Looks like they had a blast last night. Let's see. No costume, James. That's right. I wasn't even thinking, Lauren. Never even crossed my mind. I'll be honest, and I'm kind of got. I'll make up for it. I got a picture to show you. Of me, Halloween 1998. I think. Yeah, 98. Let's see. Who we got here? Fan on Panthers Pride Rough. Alyssa Banks. There's 9 Inch Nails Polite. John Martin. What's going on, John? I just made your night. Wow. I'm competing with Game 5 of the World Series. This makes me feel good that I have this many people in here watching. I'll tell you what. Let's see. I got a little outline here tonight of things I'll go over with you. There's my buddy Wayne. I am in costume, Wayne, you're right. But let's see here. I do have the World Series on in the background. My man Clayton Kershaw is pitching tonight, and he is by far the best pitcher in the world right now, and one of the best of all time, to be honest with you, in my opinion. But what do I know? Ocean Mist says, hope you're feeling all right, James. You know, to be honest, Ocean Mist, it's been a kind of a rough couple days for me, if I'm being honest. Yesterday was supposed to be my mom's 60th birthday, but as some of you guys know, I've spoke about her before. You know, she passed away in 2010. So yeah, she was 52 when she passed away, and so I went and got her some flowers and took them to the grave site and sat there with her and talked. And the cool thing is I don't know if they do this in other places, but what's up, Doc Holiday? Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're glad that I'm streaming, buddy. But the way we have it here is my mom passed away before my grandmother, but they're buried in the same plot. So my mom's on the bottom, and then my grandmother, her mom, is on top. So my mom was like 8 feet deep, and then they placed my grandma on top of her when she died later. But so when I show you this picture, you'll understand why there are two names on this headstone here. But this is me at my mom. You know, that's our little birthday party yesterday. I tried to get her favorite flower is a daisy, and I took her a few daisies and a rose and some other things. They're like an autumn color. I thought she would like those. But yeah, I sat there and then I'm kind of weird. Hey Aaron, thank you so very much. Thank you very much. I'm an odd guy. Maybe it's odd. I don't know, but I love graveyards. I go around and I'll talk to people. You know, I will. If there's somebody that I was related to or a friend of mine, I'll sit there and talk to them just like they're in front of me. And so that's what I do. I'll just go chill out and talk to my mom and my grandma at the same time. And so this honestly, this is exactly the way they would like it. They would love it for me just to go chill and talk to them. And so crazy thing is one of my best friends last year. Wow, Colin, thank you so much, brother. Last year, his mom passed away on October 25th, but she was buried on my mom's birthday, the 28th. So we actually, buried her on my mom's 59th birthday. And then, so after I talked to my mom, my grandmother, I did my laps around the graveyard talking to people that I know or knew. And, oh man, what was I getting ready to say? I know it's crazy, for me to say that, my mom would have been 60 and here I am, 44 years old. But like I told you before, she was 15 when I was born. We lost her too young. It was inevitable though. If you knew my mom, it was inevitable. And the Mother's Day before she passed away, she actually had an episode. My mom, she wasn't perfect, of course, and she had some issues with some things, and she had like an overdose episode that happened on Mother's Day, 2010. And I remember being in the hospital with her and her telling me, son, listen, if I ever die and they tell you that I overdosed, I want you to know that it was an accident. I'm not depressed, so, kind of just to take a burden off of me, because she knew there would probably be another episode. And I'll tell you what, man, that was the coolest thing she ever could have done, because had we not had that conversation just months before she died, I would have absolutely wondered, for the rest of my life, what could I have done, what could I have said or something, and I'll tell you a sad story is, man, at the funeral home, she didn't have any insurance or anything. And this is how good my friends are, man. Basically, there was a hat passed around, to help bury my mom. And hell, there was so much money donated, man, that there was a refund. I mean, the funeral home sent a check to my house for money that was left over. But at the funeral home, my brother and my sister, all right, I'm the oldest, of course. I mean, Jesus Christ, if she had me at 15, I don't have any older siblings. So my sister's 5 years younger than me, and then my brother's 10 years younger than me. We all are born right around the same time of the year, and just 5 years apart. But they said, we were talking, and they said, "Did she call you?" And I said, "Yeah, she did. She called my wife, and I wasn't expecting to tell this story. I can't believe I'm doing this, but this is cool. This is really cool. Anytime my mom called my wife, it was usually to see about borrowing money, and because she knew I would gripe at her. We were so close, like brother and sister almost. Even though I did respect her as my mom, but she said they said, did she call? And I said, she called Misty, um, told me to call her, but I didn't call her back. And she had, and it's so out of character, she had called my brother and my sister within the week before she died, and said, just she basically apologized, for how she raised us, and sorry she wasn't a better mom and all this stuff, and so I missed my call. I believe I missed my call. I didn't call her back, and I really, now that does bother me. Even though she took that burden off of me in the hospital, damn, it would have been cool to hear that come out of her mouth, and then for me to, in turn, just take that burden off of her and say, I thought you did great, with the hand you were dealt. But enough of that. Wow. I do have some funny stuff to talk about. Got some pretty cool stuff to talk about, too. Um, so anyway, happy birthday, Mom. You got me to cry in front of people on YouTube. And I know you wouldn't even have a clue what YouTube is. But since it's Halloween, I thought I would share a picture of me that I think you guys will, this will lighten the mood a little bit. Let's get everybody. Wow, sorry about that. Get everybody back. This is me. I used to work at fairs during the fair season, and in the winter months I would deliver pizza. So this is me at Pizza Hut, and I delivered pizza like this on Halloween of 1998. Damn, I wish there wasn't a glare. Shit, it's just there we go, a little bit better. Shit. But those were the largest women's shoes they had. My toenails are painted. I know you can't see all that. But that's the largest shoes they had at Walmart for women. And I took and put Hershey's Kisses inside the bra, to make it look like it was cold outside. But everybody I delivered pizza to that night asked me to come inside and show everybody in their house, who delivered the pizza. I wasn't expecting that, guys, and now my nose is running. Give me just 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, I'd also like to say that I've been reading like crazy, and I've got some awesome ideas to talk to you guys about. And I kind of had planned on recording an actual video yesterday, and then yesterday kind of got me, like you just saw there, and just wasn't in the mood. Wasn't in the mood. Wow. But man, there's some stuff I want to talk to y'all about Tyrion. I got some thoughts about him, man. There's just something to him, and something about his this love and affinity, almost a morbid affinity he had with dragons as a kid, and the way he talked about, you know, seeing the skeleton, the skulls and stuff, and how he would stick fire and torch in the mouth and everything, and then he would, when he would build a fire, he would imagine it being, you know, dragon's fire, and it was killing his dad and his sister and stuff, and so that's really got me going back to this whole thing about him, you know, possibly having Targaryen blood. And I know we've talked about that a lot, and you know, the timeline doesn't add up maybe, but there's something there. It's just really driving me crazy. Wow, Carol, Purple Haze, thank you guys, man, so much. Cardinals own Kershaw. I see that, Tom. It sucks. Really, nobody owns Kershaw. I lived the last so many years of my life believing that Pedro Martinez was the best pitcher that I'd ever seen, and possibly the best pitcher that ever picked up a baseball. But Clayton Kershaw is he's right there in that conversation, and I know this is not that channel, but so anyway, I do think there's something to be said about that with Tyrion, and there's some other cool stuff. My mind's a little jumbled right now, but somebody said, how far am I in the books? Where I'm at in the books right now is Catelyn's at the Eyrie, and she just brought Tyrion there, and spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't read, but yeah, and Lysa just whipped out her breast and started breastfeeding, and old Robin, and that's where I'm at now. So Carol Brown says, better than Nolan Ryan. Well, yeah, you know, Carol, Nolan's my man. I mean, without a doubt. I'll tell you what, man, he did it better, longer than anybody, you know. But Nolan's control was a thing, you know, and he walked a lot of people. But no, Nolan's my man, and my I think I told you I wanted to name my daughter Nolan. But anyway, so I'll show you something really cool, man. A friend of mine gave me. I don't know if you remember, I was asked in maybe that Truth or Dare video about my favorite bands, and I said Fleetwood Mac. While you guys were asking me that, and I was answering that, unknowingly, this friend of mine made me this. It's a wooden replica of a Fleetwood Mac 45 record. It's made out of the wood from a cable reel, and you know, me being a cable guy, I mean, this is just doubly precious to me. But this is their number one hit, Dreams, and you know, if you're not sure, I mean, it's the now here you go again, you say you want your freedom. You know that song. Well, who am I to keep you down? But anyway, is this not cool as hell? I mean, it looks just freaking like it. And, you know, he's even got the thing, the adapter. He used a jigsaw to cut out of wood. And it's just so cool. I had to share that because I told y'all about liking Fleetwood Mac. And so I don't know. I mean, he's starting his own little cool thing where he's gonna be making stuff like that. He made this unbelievable 3D Led Zeppelin, you know, Led Zeppelin 4 album wall art that even has It even has a little, you know, those greeting cards you open up and they'll sing. Well, I didn't know it, but you can buy those little audio recording devices that fit in those things, and he's put one of those in there, and you can push the button, and it's you know, that breakdown in Stairway to Heaven. And as we wind on down the road, you know, dun, 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 that. So yeah, man, and it's just, you know, the old man hunched over with the sticks on his back and the cane. I mean, he's literally got a bundle of sticks, 3D off of his back, looks just like it, and so he's making all these cool things and doing wood burning and stuff. So if any of you guys are interested in hooking up with him, I can definitely put you in touch. Really creative guy. But just hit me up at dustonthethrone@gmail.com. My email address is usually in all the links. There's a few of you that use it. But I think that was so freaking cool. You know, he didn't ask me if I was interested or anything, you know. And so let me check that off the list. I shared that with you, but I can definitely put you in touch with him. And he can make you some really cool stuff. I think it looks cool anyway. And I mean, sure, somebody could, you know, walk up close to it and maybe critique it or whatever, but it's made from a cable reel, and from a distance looks exactly like a 45 record. So I did that. I talked about my mom. Showed a couple pictures. Oh, I didn't show you the one picture. I only had 3. Oh, 78s. Yeah, that's odd. I remember. I just thought you'd find this funny. This is me in 10th grade in high school. There's that chin I was telling you I always like to hide. But yeah, that's the guy you're getting to know right there. So he's a transvestite pizza delivery guy by day, and I don't know. Anyway, so shows you the record, and now it's time for me to tell a story as far as my list is concerned. But let me just look here and just see what these I see the super chat things. I don't want to leave those hanging. I want to acknowledge. This Doc Holiday says, "Hey James, glad you're streaming. Thanks so much, Doc." Aaron Habig, James, you're wonderful. Thank you so much. I think you're wonderful too. Colin Gallant says, "Hey James, just wanted to stop by and say keep the vids and live streams coming. You know I will, brother." Carol Brown, peace and love to you and your family during a special time. Thank you so much, Aaron. Much love to you, James. And much love to you, Aaron. That was so, man, it's not necessary, but greatly appreciated. Purple Haze, thank you very much. You're in my thoughts and prayers. Stay encouraged. I have you know, a good support group around me, as you know, man, and they're encouraging, you know, let go of the past, trust in God, and look to the future. Be blessed and prosper. Thank you so much. I needed to hear that, and I thank you all. I think I've thought about a million stories. You know, I never know which ones to bring out on you. But I'll tell you one. You guys remember the Beverly Hillbillies? Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies? That, she really reminded me, and that's who my grandmother reminded me of. This is my dad's mom. She was, you know, little lady. They looked a lot alike. She dipped snuff. She always had her little can of snuff with a little tiny silver spoon in there, and she always hid it from people. I don't know why. Everything was hidden beside her chair and stuff, and she'd look around before she'd spit in her little cup. But she was awesome, man. I used to stay at their house a lot, and she could cook like nobody's business, man. She could take $5 and just, you know, make an incredible meal. And you know, like I've said before, I was the poor kid. Well, you know, to be the poor kid, you come from a poor freaking family. So, you know, they were poor too. But a few houses down, there was this kid who was about a year older than me, and he was a little asshole. He had the best toys in the world, right? And you go to his house and go down in his basement, and these toys were scattered all over the place. If you remember Battlestar Galactica, he had one of those was a Cylons. It was about this tall, and the red dot would go back and forth, and he had some just amazing toys that it looked like he could care less. They were just strewn around, but he would let me come up there and play. But also at the same time, to be able to do that, I had to let him make fun of me a little bit, and he would get me to drink castor oil and stuff like that. And a little jerk, you know. I didn't give a shit. You can't, as you saw with the Jelly Belly thing, castor oil didn't do shit to me. He didn't get any joy out of that. But so one day, this little prick decides, hey man, let's go to my grandma's across the street and get some matches. I'm like, what do we need matches for? What's this burn stuff, you know? Okay. So I'm along for the ride. Let's do it. We go over there, and her door's locked. She had, you know, one of the screen doors, wooden frame screen, but you open it and it's got the big spring, springs it back and slams shut. Well, it was locked by the hook latch lock. You know, just the hook goes in the little hole. And I'm like, well, the door's locked. Let's find something else to do, man. Let's go back and play with those toys. He's like, no. He goes around to the front, gets an envelope out of her mailbox, and comes back and shows me how to break and enter somebody's house that has a hook lock. You just slide the envelope through the crack, raise it up, and there the hook goes. So I'm probably 7 years old. I didn't need to be taught that. Well, anyway, he goes in, and when he said matches, he meant matches. His grandmother had a box of matches on top of her refrigerator, and he gave me probably 10 books of matches, and he kept 10 books. And so we commenced to just lighting sticks and grass and stuff on fire. Well, in his grandmother's front yard, there was a huge stack of bales of hay. I'd say there's probably 20 bales of hay there. And right beside of the bales of hay was a fishing boat. And inside that fishing boat was like 2 5-gallon cans of gas. Well, we're out there playing with matches, and he'd pull a straw out of the bale of hay, and we'd light it and everything. And next thing you know, the whole pile, the whole stack of these bales of hay are roaring. I mean, burning 20 feet high, these flames. And we go, he gets their hose, and he turns on the spigot, and we're over there, and we're squirting this. we needed help. It was not doing anything. We may as well have just been pissing on it. And he says, my uncle. So we take off running, throw the hose down, take off running into the woods behind his grandmother's house. And his uncle gets out there and fights this fire. And meanwhile, I'm creeping, and he's yelling at the top of his lungs, man, yelling for that kid's name. I don't even remember his name, but he's yelling his name, and we're hiding behind trees and ease down through the woods and cut across the street and go back to my grandma's house. Because, I mean, fire trucks came, everything. It was a big deal. Well, I walk in, and my grandma's standing there on the phone. And, you know, back in the day, people didn't like hang out on the phone for a long time. So they had a short cord, and you just stand there, do your business, hang the phone up, and, you know, get on with your life. Way different than today. But I'm shaking her pants leg and her shirt, saying, Granny, I got to tell you something, please. And she's like, on the phone, hold on. Well, I swear it seemed like an eternity. I'm dying to tell her what happened, that this little jerk started the fire, not me. And so while she's ignoring me and keeps, putting her hand over the phone and saying, stop, Jamie. All right. The dude's grandma comes and knocks on the door. And, the front door was open. We had a screen door just like the one I described earlier. She's standing there, and I'm petrified. My grandmother, when she sees her, is like, oh, I got to go. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hangs up right away. The lady comes in and starts telling her how horrible I was, that I started this fire that almost burnt their boat up, and it was nothing but a lie. So I guarantee the asshole was up there blaming everything on me. And my grandma flips out on me. She's like, get your ass in that bedroom right now. She's like, I'll take care of him. Don't you worry. Get in there. Don't say a word. Because I was trying to defend myself, right? So, man, I am just dying. I'm bawling. She'd never whipped me before. So I go in there and man, she slams the door and she said, you just yell like I'm killing you. And she started beating a belt on the dresser on the side of the chest of drawers. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs, Granny, please stop, please. And she was like, don't you ever go up there again. I can't believe you would do that. I'm just all this. She was just putting on such a story, man. She never laid one finger on me. And peeked out the window. The lady was back up the road in front of her house, and she said, I'd never hit you for that bitch. I can't stand her. I didn't know she knew her. I had no idea. But if you can just imagine that, man, she's so little and frail, but she was waylaying the side of that chest of drawers, and I was screaming. I went right with her. Even at 7, I knew, yes, man, I'll go with this, Granny. I don't want no part of you when you're pissed. But yeah, man, I was so glad, so relieved, but so glad that she knew that lady was a bitch, because she was, and I guess it was her bitch son ended up having this little prick of a kid who tried to torture me just to let me play with his toys because he knew where I was from. My form of entertainment at the time was jumping off the porch with an umbrella, seeing if I could use it as a parachute, or getting a big jug and making ant farms in it, not realizing you needed a queen. Otherwise, they're just prisoners and trying to escape. But yeah, man, he had every toy you'd ever want to imagine. He thinks I took a hell of a, he did. He thought I took a hell of a beating for his little smart ass, but I didn't. Let's see. I see somebody's talking about, oh, that's Marty talking about her. The G, your hair smells terrific. Is it still on the market? I used to love that. And that shampoo really did smell good. It sure did. Let's see. How much time do I have? Not much time, guys. So, I'll just have to tell you one quick story. Since I started off talking about my mom, I'll end talking about my mom. My mom she was a tough lady. She was, like I said, she was close to 6 feet tall, and she was rough and tumble, and she could fight. And she was known for fighting. You just didn't want to mess with her, right? You didn't want to mess with her kids either. That's one cool thing about her, is no matter how shitty things were at home, she had my back. Well, I've told you about my jackass stepdad, so you'll love this. I'm not going to tell you. I mean, along the way, they have had some horrible fights where, like, I would wake up and tiptoe through the house all over these broken guitars and everything, where, she had shattered them over his head, and they were acoustic, of course. But she hit him with an electric guitar one time, and he spun around and hit the wall and slid down, and it's just like the movies, man, just like it, where the blood runs down behind their head. And he was unconscious for about half an hour, and she was like making plan, trying to figure out what she was going to do with his body. I mean, they had that kind of relationship. She stabbed him multiple times. He beat her with a machete, and when I say he beat her with a machete, I mean, of course, if he used the blade, you know, she'd be dead. But what he did, it was like a homemade machete made out of a lawnmower blade that had been sharpened really good and had a wooden handle on it. But he used the blunt end, the dull end. But he hacked her pretty good, cut her head wide open, and she had the biggest bruise I've ever seen in my life that just covered her whole right side of her body. Well, no, he was right-handed, so it was her whole left side. And but she got him back several times. I mean, she really did. He really almost died the time she stabbed him. He came in messed up and tried to pick my brother up out of the crib because she told him to get out, and he was screwed up and staggering. I was like, I'm not leaving till my son's coming with me. And he grabbed my brother by the ankle and picked him up, and she just laid into him, bam, 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 bam. And yeah, crazy life, I'm telling you. But I'm grown and moved out of the house, and I happened to be back over there one night, and he was over there, and he was just a jackass. She already had a new boyfriend who's a great guy, and he was an unassuming guy, just a really cool, calm guy. Well, he was over there, and he would drink with them, and always seemed to come to a head when they would drink. And she told him to leave, and he said, no, I'm not leaving. And she said, I've got something for your ass. And she went in the bedroom and got a damn BB gun, a pistol. She thought it looked so real, and I kept telling her it didn't. So she goes out, and she says, all right, you son of a bitch, I've done told you too many times, get out or I'm going to blow your brains out. And she holds the gun out to him, man. And he looks at that thing, and he's like, blow my brains out, huh? It's a fucking BB gun. She pistol whipped the dog shit out of him, knocked him unconscious with this BB gun, and then grabbed him by his ponytail and drug his ass right out the back door down 8 steps, and then came back up, slammed the door, locked it, sat down and popped open another beer. That's my mom. That's my mom. I never had to worry about jack shit when she was around. She oh God, that reminded me of even another funny one. She showed up to a party of mine, and said she came over there to protect me, that some guys showed up at her house in a Camaro, said they were going to beat my ass. Well, I knew that was a lie because they wouldn't have made it out of her yard if they actually said that. What she did was she took a taxi to my house with this concocted story so she could party with us. I mean, that's exactly, I knew it. But she ends up hanging out and drinking, and she sits down, and she's like, oh, she pulls a knife out of her back pocket. I'm like, give me the knife, Mom. We don't party like y'all party. So I take the knife. Fucking a little bit later, a hatchet comes out of the back of her pants. The knife was in her pocket. The hatchet was in the back of her pants. An hour later, a fork comes out of her bra. I mean, she came over there armed to the gills. I don't know. I mean, like I said, she was used to when there was if there wasn't like 4 cop cars show up at the end of a party, it wasn't a party, you know. So that's what she thought she was getting into that night. But no, me and my friends showed her how to have a decent time without any violence erupting. But yeah, like a knife, a hatchet, and a fork. And you know, my friends that were there, they still bring up the fork and the bra thing to this day. It was so funny. And I have a million more that I could tell in detail that you'd really like, but I'll save them. We got to go. I got to get ready for mine and Chris's live stream. I know it's kind of an awkward video tonight. Really appreciate your time and you hanging out with me and your patience with me. And I love you. I love you guys a lot. I really do. And I hope to see you soon with a more structured Game of Thrones video where I actually do talk, because I want to talk to you guys about these things I'm seeing. I really do. I just don't know if live is the right way to do it, because I'm not as slick as Chris at watching the comments. I might need a partner to do it live, but I do want to talk to you about the stuff I've been reading, and talk to you guys soon. I'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes with Chris. Love you guys. Valar Tadias. Now, if we can just